One of the things that we have to understand with regard to McPherson is that he was a reluctant star, right? Like he was, even from the earliest moments when he received the news of his Pulitzer, there was a sense in which he was one at an ambivalent place in his personal life. So when he was trying to figure out at the University of Virginia what it is that he's doing there, how it is that he's going to operate within that space, and how he should react to this acclaim. And I think that that gravity and that reality, that spiritual striving, as it were, at that moment, colored the whole dynamic. Like, so outside of the fact that in general he's a low key, giving person, I think that that reality, as far as his moment of coronation, like if there's this moment of coronation and you're defined to some extent by the moment of coronation, because that could shift you, like you could become someone radically different. But I think that because it was agonizing, like the subtext of this achievement, and he's written about this, is that something that you would want to scream from the top of buildings, that naturally you would want to announce as widely as possible. He was uncertain even how his own home institution would respond to it. So there's a sense in which that negative capacity, as they call it with regard to Shakespeare, the capacity to contain two different emotions at the same time, I think that his sensitivity to irony probably colors the way that he looks at life. So where others are simply attempting to modulate at a higher level, he's always bringing things down to a more elemental dynamic. And I think that's the reason why, is because that's the kind of wisdom, that's the kind of insight that's often born of bittersweet realization. Is that at the center of it all is you're never as good as someone else is telling you that you are. You're never as bad as the worst critic is suggesting. And he has serene self-possession, because that's the other thing, is like he's very self-possessed. He's very much he understands. He's a person who's comfortable, some people say, in his own skin. Like he's comfortable being the man that he is, and for all that represents, that I think is a defining aspect of why he's able to be generous, is because he's never performing for someone else, or he's rarely in a mode where he's consumed by what other people think of him. One of the things that's interesting is that one of Jim McPherson's favorite writers, and one of the writers that he admired most, was Ralph Ellison. And Ellison has always suggested that at the center of America, right, like at the center of a national conception, is a belief or an idea about blackness that is underappreciated, and that is ultimately intricately involved, right? Like there's no way that you could conceive of a national identity within America that is not somehow implicated by the reality of a black presence. And the reason I bring that up is because it's an interesting dynamic with someone like Paul Engle in relationship to someone like James Allen McPherson. On one level, people would say the conflation of these two figures at a surface level, or in even more profound terms, seems odd. But the University of Iowa, specifically the Writers Workshop, partakes of this sort of conflation, right? Like this unexpected combination. And at different moments in the history of these two institutions, those sort of felicitous conflations have taken place. And I think that James Allen McPherson receiving the inaugural Paul Engle Award is on one level zany and uncanny, on another level is completely emblematic of the way that the university has operated. In almost a serendipitous fashion, it has been an exemplar of what Albert Murray called the omni-American connections between African American experience and a broader mainstream culture. So on one level, I think that there is a sense of aptness with regard to the spirit of what McPherson represents. But I think that also there's a productive tension with regard to McPherson being the recipient of the award and being the inaugural recipient of the award. So I think that that's something that will set literary communities to thinking at the very least.